This activity is grounded in nonverbal communication. First, it is important to recognize the difference between verbal and nonverbal. Verbal communication is everything to do with words. Notice the words verbiage, having to do with word choice, language. Verbs, action words. Verbal communication is words. Nonverbal communication is the absence of words. No words are necessary. So let's test what you know. This book, right? Verbal or nonverbal communication. My note cards, verbal or nonverbal. It is very likely that many of you said nonverbal. This is actually incorrect. It is verbal because remember, verbal communication is defined as words. These are words, no? True, you're thinking, well, they're not spoken. They're not said out loud. That is the difference between verbal communication and vocal or oral communication, right? But verbal and nonverbal only has to do with words. So, with that understanding of verbal versus nonverbal, this activity is going to be based in nonverbal. So, I would like you to get out a scratch sheet of paper, or if you have your cell phone handy, go ahead and open up a memo pad or Google Keep Notes, or open a text message to me. Okay. To complete this activity, you'll have the option of submitting your thoughts, your reflection into the activities folder, or you can simply text me your results. Text me your reflection, your reaction in just a couple sentences. Cool. All right, so before we begin this activity, first I want you to think of a number, a percentage. I want you to guess how much of our communication is nonverbal. What percentage of our communication is nonverbal? So scholars will have a different view on this, all right? But go ahead, write down your number if you have not yet already done so. And in my perusing of different texts, I have seen 65%, I have seen 85%, 80%, I've seen as high as 92%. Not really sure where the two, it's very specific, I know. So even though scholars will disagree and have different percentages, what I have seen across the board is that they all agree it's more than half. More than half of our communication is nonverbal, without words. Imagine, we can communicate so much without words. So, today's activity, I want you to number your paper 1 through 7, and you don't need a whole lot of room here. So just 1 through 7, and I'm going to do a series of gestures, and I want you to write down the name and or meaning of each gesture as I go through them. All right, 1 through 7. Okay, number 1. You're only looking at the gesture. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Here we go. Number 5. Number 6. And lastly, number 7. All right, so I'm going to go through these with you, and disclaimer, please do not be offended by anything I'm going to say. This is for educational purposes only. Great. Okay. All right. So, and this will be your reflection. I want you to share with me what you knew or didn't know, your thoughts. Okay. So you're just going to share your thoughts, your reactions to these gestures, right? About a paragraph or less. And if you text me, it'll be less. Okay. Just a couple sentences, what you thought. And if you got any right. Okay. So, number one, what is this? Right. So many of you probably wrote thumbs up, good job, good, something positive, right? Okay, so in parts of the Middle East and Asia, this is akin to the middle finger. In Australia, if you move it up and down, it's the same thing as saying up yours. In Greece, if you thrust it forward, it means get stuffed. Okay, so, don't go hitchhiking in Greece, all right? Okay, so, yeah. Number two. Okay. So many of you probably wrote the okay sign, A-okay, good job, very similar to the thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Okay, mustache. Right. So in Latin America, parts of France, some regions of Germany, this symbolizes your anus or asshole. Yep. In Turkey, it means homosexual. And in Australia, it means zero. Like if you do it towards someone, calling them zero. Right? So, next time somebody cuts you off in traffic, say okay. 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 All right. So number three. Number three. All right, so some of you might have put like stop, go away, maybe high five, talk to the hand. All right, whatever else you put, I don't know, because I can't hear you. So in Greece, this means eat shit. And notice I am using my left hand. So back in the old days, people used to clean themselves with their hands before we made toilet paper. And so most people are right-handed. We would write with our right hand. We would greet with our right hand, right? Okay, our left hand was used to clean ourselves. Of course, we would clean our hand afterwards, but to use your left hand in someone's general direction. Eat shit and die. Okay, so that is what that means. It's nice, very nice. So, next time somebody breaks up with you. All right. Number four. Okay, snap. It's probably what many of you wrote down. Snap could be like you had an idea, right? Right. Pretty basic. So this is the very most simple one, least offensive of the ones on my list. So trying to remember something forgotten in parts of Latin America could be like hurry up. In Great Britain, to remember something or get an idea. Okay. In some cultures, snapping too close to someone's face is really disrespectful. Okay, so it can be offensive there. All right, so this is my personal favorite here. Number five. Number five. All right. So some of you might have put rock on, devil horns, Texas Longhorns, llama. What else could this be? What else have I heard people say? Can't think of anything else, but if you have any other definitions that you wrote down. Share that with me in your reaction. Okay, so this is commonly called the horn fingers, known also as the corona. Corona. It's a symbol of the devil in many cultures. In some Buddhist and Hindu circles, it means Karana Mudra, and it is used to dispel evil. In the Mediterranean and some Latin cultures, it is an old symbol called the cuckold, meaning that your wife is a cheating whore. If you were, because you're a fool. You're a cuckold, you're a fool, and your wife is cheating on you. So I don't really know how I feel about that particular definition of this gesture, that there's like a name like that association with it, or that like it happens so often that there needed to be a gesture for it. Yikes. Scary. Okay, so rock on. Next time you see Power Man 5000 playing abroad, maybe, check, double check where you are before you start telling them to rock on. Might tell them their wife is cheating on them. Oops. Whoopsies. Okay, so number six. All right. So some of you might have just been like, come here, come hither. All right, so in some Asian cultures, parts of Japan, this is rude. This is what a superior would do to a subordinate. So someone, above would do to below, it's very belittling. What you do to a child who's in trouble. Okay, the parent would do this. It's also known as a dog call, right? My dog doesn't respond to this, but, called that too. In Singapore, it's an indication of death. Scary. Okay. And in the Philippines, this can get you arrested or have your finger broken, because it is indeed a come hither call for a prostitute. Yeah. Right. Good. And then lastly, number 7. Okay, so some of you might have put peace out, deuces, quiet. So some people, like, I don't know what school you went to when you were younger, but like sometimes if you had those teachers and like silence, terrifying. So quiet. V for victory. Okay, can't think of anything else. If you thought of something else, let me know. So in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, other parts of the Commonwealth, it means up yours. Up yours. Palm out is more acceptable than palm in. This is worse. So I guess don't do that. So not good. All right, so that is 1 through 7. So right, just a brief reflection, reaction to these 7 gestures of nonverbal communication, everything to do with your hands and nonverbal. No words. And if you want to go ahead and check this out yourself, go ahead and type in a Google search, gestures, meaning, and cultures, those 3 keywords in a Google search. And I use the top 3 results in a Google result list. So you can go ahead and fact check me, and there was more there. These are just the ones that I picked. I thought they were particularly interesting. So yes, so go ahead and text me if you want to get, super fast credit for this activity. Make sure to include your name and your section number so I can give you the credit for that. Otherwise, if you don't feel like, I don't want to text her, go ahead and throw it into the activities folder in our course. All right, so that is our activity for nonverbal.